If you knew morning wood, then you know why I feel blue. Without morning, my morning wood. Oh, well, I love you, yes, I love you, morning wood. Morning wood, morning wood. Oh, how my heart yearns for you. Oh, morning, my morning wood. Oh, well, I love you, yes, I love you, morning wood. Morning wood, morning wood. Pretty, 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 pretty morning wood. Oh, morning, my morning wood. Oh, well, I love you and I need you, morning wood. I love you, morning wood, with a love so rare and true. Oh, morning, my morning wood. Well, I love you, I want you, morning wood.
Rise and shine. Happy Devil's Monday. This is the Morning Woo. My voice is a little off today. I'm your host, Sam Wu, coming to you live from an undisclosed office in beautiful New Brunswick, New Jersey. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, Twitch, and now on Instagram Live on the Let's Go Devils Network. As I see Pod Legend saying, good morning all. Wimpy, what's your favorite NHL team and what are you doing this season? Maria, happy Devils Monday to you. I see Wimpy from New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Is that how you pronounce it? Pod Legend says, as my old football coach used to say, offense wins games, defense wins championships. Proof positive last night, says Wimpy. Roman says, was Sheldon Keefe coaching the Patriots? No, I saw the Patriots coach actually in the locker room last night talking to his team at halftime. So, no, I don't think that was Sheldon Keefe. I get the joke. Lupus Not Is, Happy Devils Monday. Mike Rosenswag, all that. So what did you think about the Super Bowl? I honestly, Seahawks winning over the New England Patriots yesterday, it kind of reminded me of the Patriots remind me of the 2000 Giants in some respects, where they had an easier path to get to the Super Bowl before they lost to the Baltimore Ravens. And if you remember that speech after the NFC Championship game when the New York Football Giants beat the Minnesota Vikings, I believe it was 41-0. I was actually at that game. And had to go to the bathroom. And before you knew it was already 14-0 Giants in that game at Giants Stadium. And Wellington Mara, the late, great Giants owner, saying that we are the worst team to win the NFC Championship game, and we will be the worst team to win the Super Bowl. And the crowd was loving it because the Giants were such underdogs. And here, the New England Patriots, under Mike Vrabel, first year, Drake May, young quarterback, making it to the Super Bowl. And their path to get there, they have the third easiest schedule in the NFL. And then the way the playoffs worked out, missing quarterbacks, MIA, just they were able to squeak into the Super Bowl. But it finally caught up to them because Seattle Seahawks had 2 weeks to prepare for the New England Patriots, and they just shut them down. They just shut them down. And Sam Darnold, again, and this is a lesson learned for all sports fans, that you can't write off some of these high first-round draft picks. Being picked third overall in 2018, Baker Mayfield went first. Saquon Barkley went second with the New York Football Giants. But Sam Darnold, drafted by the Jets and then going to San Francisco, then going to the Carolina Panthers, then the Minnesota Vikings. Even the Minnesota Vikings, he had a then career year, but sticking with J.J. McCarthy, the 10th overall pick that they had selected but got injured, who he replaced, and Seattle Seahawks taking a chance on Sam Darnold, now paying off, now a Super Bowl champion. That's an amazing story. And sometimes a lot of these players get to rewrite their book, a new chapter. And, again, you heard about the Drew Brees story where, he was the quarterback with the San Diego Chargers. And then San Diego Chargers had the first overall pick, selected Eli Manning, then traded it for Phillip Rivers, who was a great quarterback, coming back this past season out of retirement, showing you why he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. But, again, you just never know with some of these players where, they take a little bit more time to develop, or they're just drafted in a bad situation. But Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champion. And, overall the game was garbage. I agree with Jay Snow. The halftime was, again, it's your choice. I think if I were Jay-Z, if I was doing the Super Bowl live entertainment, I would have never picked Big Bunny in a million years. It didn't. You got to read the room here, because you're in San Francisco. You could have had two bands played. You could have had Metallica and maybe Creedence A Clearwater Revival as well, being from the Bay Area. There's a lot of rich history of music coming out of San Francisco that you could have done. And I think that would have been more, appropriate, and with the theme and everything like that. Look, am I a big fan of Big Bunny music? No. Could I be a fan? Maybe. But the thing is, this is the Super Bowl here. And it was divisive. Green Day played. I thought that was cool. I'm glad they kept the politics out of it, because Green Day, from day one has always been political. Glad they left the politics out of it for the most part on both ends. But, fans are there to watch sports. Fans, left. If you go to the Kid Rock halftime show, there was over 5 million people live concurrent on YouTube Live. I mean, that's incredible. That's incredible. 5 million live. So these aren't just estimates. These are real people watching live, which was actually a fake live. It was actually like a pre-recording. But then I thought about it, how much work it takes to actually really do it live, a live performance. But still, again, there were some good commercials in there. Wimpy says Metallica, Testament, Machine Head, ha ha ha, Exodus. Good for them. Let's see here. Pod Legend, loved the halftime a lot. Just being honest, helped to be married into a Latino family, but it was fun. Look, if Pitbull played, I would have been fine with it. I would have been fine with it. It has nothing to do with Latino or whatever. It's just, when you come in that divisive, why put somebody up there like that? That's just my 2 cents on it. Let's see here. See Max chiming in. Roman says, I love Bad Bunny music, but that's not in any way, time, and place when 90% of your audience can't understand. It makes no sense. Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I started actually, he's from Puerto Rico, and I did I like culture. I'm like, all right, let's see what other Puerto Rican, um, yeah, what other Puerto Rican artists are out from there. Francisco Lindor is from Puerto Rico. A lot of people are from Puerto Rico. Um, and I was looking it up. Did you know? Now I want to move to Puerto Rico. Did you know? Obviously, Puerto Rico is not a state, it's a U.S. territory. But did you know inside Puerto Rico, I could have, I guess, a remote job? Say if I had a remote job making, let's just say, $100,000 a year, but I actually live in Puerto Rico, I don't have to pay federal income tax, apparently. I don't know how that works, but apparently I don't. That's what I discovered, during the halftime show. I'm like Googling about Puerto Rico, and that's what I found out. So if anybody knows, please let me know, because I find that very, very interesting. That, I think in Puerto Rico you do pay U.S. taxes, but when it comes to federal income, if you're within the borders of Puerto Rico, you don't have to pay federal income tax. Roman says PR is a huge tax haven. Yeah, so that's what I found out last night. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, okay. I'm starting to like Puerto Rico now. But again, Max says it wasn't bad QB play. The Pats O-line are turnstiles. Yeah, the offensive line, Seattle's front just stormed New England. It was just boom, 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 boom. Mike Rosenzweig says there are 70 million Latinos in the United States. I speak Spanish fluently because I lived in Florida and have family there. I was glad the NFL spent some. Look, again, but when you're in San Francisco and Metallica, I don't know. We can all agree to disagree. It's all a matter of opinion at all. Do I like that type of music? Just depends when and where. But the Super Bowl? I don't know. But I did see a video of Roger Goodell hugging Big Bunny afterwards. That was a pretty cool moment. So it looked like a lot of love in the air, which is always good. Bill Agnew says, Sam, when will the Giants be in the Super Bowl? That's a good question, because I know that they signed John Harbaugh. Instantly gives the Giants credibility. Since the Tom Coughlin years, believe it or not, it's Ben McAdoo has the best record out of all the coaches, believe it or not, that's come since then. The New York Football Giants, some of the coordinators that they have hired, I'm not sold yet. So to answer your question, this draft is going to be crucial. Are they going to draft a wide receiver, a big-time wide receiver, to go along with Malik Neighbors, who's coming off of a ACL injury? Cam Scadaboo, he's trying to rehab, get back to training camp as well. The offensive line, do they draft an O lineman? I think the key for the New York Football Giants is their offensive line coach, whoever they're going to hire. I think that's going to be key. So ask me that question in a month. Paul Legend says it's Bad Bunny, not Big Bunny. Yeah, I know. I keep on saying that, but, I don't really care. Let's see. Pod Legend. I honestly don't speak Spanish. I love the culture and attracted to the Latinas, so I was in heaven during the performance with all the dancing. Bill Agnew says Sam knows football and hockey. Yeah, I know all sports. Some stronger than others. I have more insider info with the Devils, but um, but getting back to let's see, and Mike Rosenside says, living in Seattle, I'm not a big Pearl Jam, but I respect the culture. I think Brandy Carlisle is more talented. I wish Bad Bunny received the same open-minded opportunities from NFL fans. Well, I think Bad Bunny brought it on himself. I mean, he went like he went political right from the get-go, and I think that's a turnoff. And I think that's where the turnoff was. I don't think anybody would have cared about Bad Bunny if he performed, but when you right off the bat, with all the hype, you went political. That's I think where it went wrong for him. They snuck in Lady Gaga in there apparently, and all that. But I just wish we can take the politics out of sports. I really do, because it's again, it should be sports should be like a sacred thing where it brings us all together. It shouldn't be divisive. Wimpy says he can be my correspondent for Daytona Race Week. Yeah, Daytona. Um, it's funny. I used to follow NASCAR like hardcore. I like Formula One racing. I like following that because they're crazy. They're absolutely nuts. I mean, they drive through rain, and you see all the rooster tail, water spitting out from the tires. Uh, uh, how about Biketoberfest? But anyway, so Max says, "Are you well versed in English sport of purring, shin kicking?" Not, not. I have no idea what you're talking about. So probably not. Probably not. Let's see here. That's Pod Legend. That's a that's a that's a that's a loaded question. So you're not a fan of Olympians speaking out against the government right now, because I think right now it's needed. Um, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because honestly, if I was an Olympian, I'd keep my mouth shut. That's just me. But I don't like to say, well, you can't talk about it, because to me, there's the freedom of speech aspect of it. So I'm letting that percolate in my mind. But, there are consequences to it, because if you start talking politics, you're going to alienate half of your audience. The same goes with the media. If you start talking politics, even on this podcast or whatnot, guess what? You're going to alienate half of your audience. But the goal here is not to alienate the fans. The goal here is to bring together the fans. So, in a matter of strategy, if your goal is to unite the country, if the goal is to unite the fan base, is the goal is to unite and have peace and harmony with people that have disagreements with you, I honestly wouldn't talk about it, because what gains do you have? What do you have to gain of it personally? To each their own. Again, I don't think whatever I'm saying here is the end all be all, but again, that's a tricky question to answer. Answer to the best I can. Again, there are some people that have been outspoken, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar back in the past. There are others that speak out, but the problem is right now, I think the political rhetoric needs to be, the temperature in the room needs to be dialed back quite a bit, because I think it's too hot right now. Let's see here. Sam, do you have any prediction for Olympic hockey? I think it's going to be USA and Canada in the end. and you're going to see a rematch of the finals. I mean, Sidney Crosby is the captain of Team Canada. I mean, you know, a lot of people were talking about Lindsey Vonn, you know, let somebody else play. Now, as long as you're an athlete and as long it's a dog eat dog world. If you want to play and you can make the team, you should play and lead. Austin Matthews also named captain of Team USA, so I think it's going to be USA versus Canada, and I think it's probably my prediction is you're going to see some of the best hockey ever. Because these players have been itching to play in the Olympics, and then you've got the storylines of the brothers, the Kachuk and the Hughes, and all that kind of good stuff. So I honestly think that you're going to see some really really good hockey, like we did in the Four Nations. Bill Agnew says, "Sam, sounds like you're a gearhead." Yeah, I like some of the stuff. I like rally racing as well. You know, I haven't watched much recently, but yeah, true story. During the pandemic, I did some work with Ryan Newman. If you know who Ryan Newman is, NASCAR driver. I think he did. Did he do Indy? I don't remember. Wimpy says F1 is pretty cool, but the competition is predictable. Like have my coffee and watch Sunday AM races are over in 90 minutes. Yeah, I had a friend in high school who was a professional race car driver. One of his teammates was Dan Weldon, the late Dan Weldon. And how it was described to me is it's not how good of a driver you are, it's what kind of sponsorships you can bring, and it's all about money. The more money you have, the better equipment you have. So that's what I was told. Again, but that's about 15 years ago. The other thing I like to watch is the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and I know Rolex down in, I think Rolex has a 24-hour series in Florida as well. I think it's at Daytona, if I'm not mistaken. So, and I like the road course races versus the ovals, but to each their own. Let's see here. Sam, have you seen the sport where they have a chase of cheese down the hill? It's hilarious. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think it's a sport. That's something maybe I can do. Well, when I was younger, I could do. But Roman says, I've always seen sports as an escape from politics and news. Yeah, I do too. The thing is, like, what I can't stand, and same with sports, like, sports and politics are kind of parallel together because it's like, I have a friend that's a Rangers fan, like Billy Dean, but he and I can actually sit down and talk hockey. Like, we're on the opposite ends. Like, why can't you do that in politics? Don't understand. Don't understand that at all. It's just, let's see here. Chris Ladd says, just remember one of the most powerful pictures in the Olympics history was black athletes with their fists in the air and how that was viewed now versus then. I'll tell you something. I like to go back in history. What was it like when Jesse Owens back in 1936 racing in Germany in the Olympics? You know, the Olympics have had history. Also, I guess in 1972 in Munich, the Israeli team as well. You know, obviously the 1980 Olympics, I guess there was a boycott, the Summer Olympics in Russia, Soviet Union, and then you had obviously the 1980 Miracle on Ice team that may have not happened had, there's another example. Like, what if Soviet Union, because for political reasons, said, no, we're not sending our team to Lake Placid? That whole 1980 thing would have never happened. Would have never happened. You know, so again, politics is a messy subject. You're not going to you're not going to agree on anything. There's no way you can agree on. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Ryan Newman almost got killed before the pandemic, if you remember. And you remember Ryan Newman, graduate of engineering at Purdue University, Big Ten school, by the way. He designed. It was his design, that cage, that roll cage, if I'm not mistaken, Wimpy, of his car that may have saved his life. May have saved his life, believe it or not. I think that's how the story goes. If I'm wrong, let me know, Wimpy. But yeah, so, and also, again, where were you when Dale Earnhardt passed away? In that crash in at Daytona. That was so sad. And he had just won it, was a year or two prior. Dale Earnhardt. If you remember when Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, finally won Daytona after so many years, and all the drivers came out to congratulate him. It's one of the iconic scenes in NASCAR. PM says NASCAR put in the Newman bar after that wreck. Yeah, and you remember the Han system as well, with the helmet. Let's see here. Wow, there's a lot of race car fans here. Bill Agnew says Jesse Owens was the biggest sporting event of the 20th century. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, there's movies about it and all that. I haven't really read up on it, but that's got. I can't imagine if you were Jesse Owens, back in the day, going into Nazi Germany, and then just. I think it all boils down to just do your thing and win the race, and stay focused. Focus ahead. Lindsey Vonn, unfortunately, as you know, crashed yesterday in her skiing event, breaking her leg on top, her left leg on top of everything else. Had surgery, had to be airlifted. Also, watching some Olympics yesterday. USA figure skating, the team event, coming down to the wire. The quad god coming through. Didn't have the cleanest of performances, but again, based on technicality, had the hardest performance and able to squeak out a gold medal over Japan. Felt bad. I felt bad for the Japanese skater that had a clean skate, did extremely well, but just didn't have the points strictly because the quad god was landing quads during his performance before, and felt really bad. Felt really bad. It's all about giving it all your best, but is your best good enough? And that's a tough one. That's a tough one because he did all he could. He did all he could. So I lost the chat because I know you guys are chatty today. Let's see here. Seeing, I don't know if any of you follow golf as well. But yeah, Pod Legend is lost. Not a racing guy at all. Wow. Pete says the Han system came after Dale's senior's wreck. Yeah, I mean, I think it was an elective at the time. I think it was elective. Molinen was unbelievable, says Maria. Yeah, just he had the entire he had the pressure on his shoulders. watching the Olympics yesterday. I mean, you got to think what it was like for NBC Sports. You had the Olympics and you had the Super Bowl in one year. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And then on top of that, Savannah Guthrie and that whole story also dominating headlines as well. Her mom, as far as I know as of now, still missing as the deadline approaches for, I guess, the alleged kidnapper set a deadline today. I think it's 5 p.m. Mountain Time, which is probably 7 p.m. Eastern. That dominating the headlines as well. But yeah, I thought the Super Bowl, Super Bowl is really an unofficial holiday. The game sucked. I wish it was better. But it sure beats having Kelsey and the Kansas City Chiefs again or the Philadelphia Eagles again. The same old lines. But anyway. All right. Well, I've gabbed enough. Gonna get out of here. We should talk some more hockey next time around. Teams are practicing right now in the Olympics. And, yeah, dropping the podcast in about 10 minutes as I'm going to play the music here. Good conversation today. One of the things that you worry about this podcast is when there's a pause, can we continue? We're going to do all sports. Spring training around the corner, Major League Baseball. So I'm going to salute Team USA, the figure skating, winning gold in dramatic fashion. Also, U.S. curling, triple knocker. If you know what I'm talking about, go on the socials. U.S. curling making it to the semifinals. Let's go. I salute you with the ceremonial sip. All right, going to get out of here. I'll see you tomorrow morning. This is the Morning Woo. Till next time, let's go Devils.
Morning Woo.